Hey everybody, how you doing? It's me, your boy Tutorial Waddles here. Welcome to another tutorial. It's only been like a couple months. It's not that bad. Today's tutorial is definitely a big one, for sure. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to build a super simple yet crazy efficient zombified piglin farm. This farm will get you tons and tons of experience, a lot of rotten flesh, and of course, plenty of gold in pretty much no time. The farm itself is massive. It's gonna require a lot of materials and it'll be pretty tedious to build. But thankfully, like I mentioned, it's actually pretty simple to build. This is just gonna require a lot of blocks. Now, just like it is to build, this farm is also crazy easy to use. Grab a bow, shoot a zombified piglin. That's going to make all of them mad. All of the zombified piglin that have spawned on the rings around the player will then rush towards the player. But there's a trick here. The zombified piglin, they can't actually reach you. They're going to run into a funnel trap area, and then you'll be able to stand there from a safe spot and take out all of the zombified piglin nice and easily. Alternatively, you could let the zombified piglin do the jobs themselves. Entity cramming will also take out the zombified piglin. This farm is designed for Minecraft Java Edition 1.16 and up. For your information, this video is being recorded in Java 1.16.3, but it should be working in all versions after 1.16. If anything does change though, for whatever reason, I'll go ahead and update the description down below this video. If you enjoy this tutorial, or if it helps you out, do me a favor, help me and the tutorial out by dropping a like on this video and subscribing. I do tutorials like this once in a while, and I post a video every single day. Alright, so a couple big things. The materials that we're going to check out in just a second aren't in exact quantities. They're in approximate amounts. Also, you're going to need a lot of things, like a lot. It's going to require a lot of materials, but trust me, it'll be worth it. So first off, you're going to need to get a double chest worth of magma blocks. Yeah, that's a lot of magma blocks. I do have a couple tips for you to help you get all of these magma blocks. Tip number 1, go to the nether waste biome, go down low, like we're talking lava level. Not necessarily below the lava, but like at lava level. Start looking around. You should find big chunks of magma blocks. Go ahead and dig those out, but be careful. Lava is literally everywhere. Or, if you have a bastion with a magma cube spawner in it, then you could make a magma cube farm and get magma cream. Then you could use the magma cream to craft magma blocks. But finding the magma blocks is probably going to be a whole lot quicker. And yes, unfortunately, you do need magma blocks, not just any random block. We'll be using magma blocks because piglins can't spawn on these blocks, but zombified piglins will. So about 1 double chest of magma blocks. You'll probably actually need just a little bit less than a double chest, but get a double chest. That's not all you're going to need a lot of. You will also need a lot of slabs. We're talking 1 chest's worth of slabs, like full. All the way pretty much. Now, technically, you don't have to use slabs. You could use non-spawnable blocks. So if you wanted to, you could use something like leaves. But we're going to be in the nether. Leaves are flammable, so maybe not the best call. Same goes for the slabs. Maybe don't use wooden slabs if you're going slabs. But they don't all have to be the same type of slab. You could use blackstone and cobblestone, and maybe stone, and maybe granite. Yeah, you could use any slabs. Slabs are non-spawnable blocks, so they'll work great. And then finally, in a less large amount, you will need these things right here. For this farm, you will need 1 minecart with a hopper and 1 rail to place that thing down. You're also going to want to have a lot of scaffolding, like a couple stacks worth, or a lot of ladders and extra building blocks. In fact, you should probably just have extra building blocks in general. You will also want to have a good handful of chests. The chests will be used to store all of your loot, and trust me, there's going to be a lot of loot. You'll also want to have hoppers so we can string chests together and, of course, store the loot. So get a lot of chests and a lot of hoppers. Having some buttons would also probably be a pretty good idea. We can use buttons on normal spawnable blocks to turn them into unspawnable blocks. Extra building blocks, including blocks and slabs, and then finally, you're going to want to have a bow to actually use this farm, and definitely a bow that's not too good. If you one-hit the zombified piglin, they actually might not get mad at you. You'll also probably want to have a pretty decent sword. Crazy bonus points if you get looting 3. Like, big time. Looting 3 will up the amount of drops that you'll get from this thing hugely. You'll definitely want it. So, yep, those are the materials. Go ahead and gather those things up. Good luck, that's a lot of stuff, but after you gather them up, you'll be ready to go. Alright, so once you've gathered your materials, it's time to head into the nether, or probably, more likely, stay in the nether. You've probably been in the nether this whole time. Now we need to find a specific location in the nether. That location is specific, but not too specific. We're looking for a nether waste biome that is at least a little big. So this nether waste biome right here would probably work. It's a little tight in some spots, but it's at least somewhat sizable. The nether waste biome is the perfect biome for zombified piglin spawning. If you try and build this farm in a biome that zombified piglins don't spawn in, like maybe a Soul Sand Valley, then just straight up the farm will not work. You need a nether waste biome that has at least a little bit of room. So again, this nether waste biome right here should probably be perfect. After you've found your nether waste biome, you're going to need to dig up and up and up until you hit the roof of the nether. Then once you've hit the roof of the nether, you need to get on top of the thing. We're going to build the farm pretty much at build limit. To get to build limit in the nether, of course, get on top of it. Now getting on top of the nether is actually pretty simple. Typically, it involves finding a very specific block, grabbing some ender pearls, and then throwing your way through the bedrock. You'll take a little bit of damage doing so, but it's pretty easy. Now, to save time in this tutorial, I'm actually going to skip the whole getting on top of the nether stuff. If you don't know how to get on top of the nether, there's a card on screen right now. In that video, I talked about both getting on top of the nether and breaking bedrock, so you can get back down easily. So once you've gotten on top of the nether in your nether waste biome, it's scaffolding time, or alternatively, a lot of blocks and ladder time. Now, when I say a lot, you're going to need a lot. Place a piece of scaffolding down and then place it over and over and over again until you hit the build limit. Now, the build limit is 256 blocks, so yeah, that's going to be a lot of scaffolding. For reference, the roof of the nether is at Y128. But once you get this message right here, it's time to start climbing the scaffolding. Now, you definitely could use ladders for this, but that's gonna cost a lot of ladders and a lot of building blocks. The reason I say scaffolding is because it's pretty easy to get a lot of scaffolding late game. You're probably going to build this farm late game anyways, so scaffolding should be pretty easy to get. Now, we're gonna build this farm way up by build limit for one big reason. That is spawns. We want the rates of this farm to be as good as possible. To get the rates up, we need to eliminate all other spawning areas. Other spawning areas? Of course, all of the blocks down below the roof of the nether. If we go up really high, far away from the nether, then we'll be way too far away from those blocks for those blocks to actually be valid spawning blocks. A little bit confusing, but basically, we want concentrated spawns inside of this farm. Now, while we're talking spawning mechanics, really quick, let's talk about a couple other spawning mechanics to play into this farm. This block right here, it's a block. It's all the way up at Y256. What else is this block? Well, this block would also be a valid ghast spawning block, if we weren't so close to it. That's a big problem. We definitely don't want ghast to spawn while building this farm, so we're going to want to be careful with the blocks that we place down. If we place a block that is a spawnable block down, we're going to either want to throw a button on top of it, or just place a slab instead, if that's an option. The other option is to place a slab above a block, like a crafting table, to stop spawns from happening. This block right here is a magma block. Magma blocks are the star of the show in 1.16. We want zombified piglins to spawn and not normal piglins. Plain and simple, normal piglins don't have the same drops. We want gold. That means zombified piglins. We'll probably end up talking about a few more mechanics as we build this farm. Anyways, we've made it all the way up to Y256. Now we actually need to backtrack. We need to get down to Y247. That's going to be the start of this farm. Now, in today's build, we'll be putting 3 layers on our farm. Technically, you could do more or you could do less, but 3 layers is honestly my golden number. It's enough layers to have really good rates, but also few enough layers to not have to collect like an obnoxious amount of supplies. Get down to Y247 and then place a block coming off of your scaffolding or an extra block coming off of your ladder. Then crouch and place a slab right next to it, then go back onto your scaffolding and break the block. Then place a slab. Then go ahead and get rid of that other slab. The reason we did all of that, of course, to stop ghast from spawning. This block is going to be the center of our farm. When we want to use this thing, we're going to stand on or around this block. Now, of course, we want zombified piglins to be able to spawn inside of this farm while we're standing on this block, of course, using the farm. Now, how do we do that? Well, easy. We build a spawning platform where mobs can actually spawn. Mobs will be able to spawn at least 24 blocks away from me. So, simple. We need a giant circular platform where zombified piglins can spawn while I'm in the middle. Pick a side of your slab, then place a block, and a block, and a block. Do that 24 times. On your 25th block, you'll need a magma block. 22, 23, and 24. Now, 25, magma block. Now, placing the magma block might be a little bit tricky because we're on a slab, but there we go. Boom, we got it. Now, to be clear, that first slab does not count. 1 starts right after that slab. So this is 1, 2, and then all the way up to 24, and then here we have 25. Alright, so we've established where we want our spawning platform to begin. But remember what I said about ghast spawning. Now, this magma block right here is actually a spawnable block for gas. That would be a big problem. If we were to start building our spawning platforms right now, we would potentially run the risk of gas spawning while we're building this thing, and unfortunately, gas can blow up magma blocks. Big problem. So to get around that, easy. We'll start with our anti-gas platform. To start our anti-gas platform, from the magma block, we're going to need to tower straight up. We need to get all the way up to Y 255 and a half. This is right before the build limit. This next platform needs to be built entirely out of a non-spawnable block, so again, something like slabs or leaves would work. From this singular block right here that is directly above our magma block right there, we're going to want to build 7 blocks out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we're going to place a temporary block. Then we're going to turn. We're going to go 2. Temporary block, then we're going to go 2. Temporary block, 2, and then finally temporary block, 2. So now we have 4 sections of 2 and 1 section of 7. After that, we're going to go 1 section of 1, and then again, 1 section of 1, just like that. Then finally, we're going to go 1 more 1, but this is the center. We're not going to count the center block at all. We don't count this one, we don't count that one right there. So here we have 7, then 2, then 2, then 2, then 2, then 1, then 1. We can get rid of these temporary blocks. This is the start of our circle. Now we need to continue it. So again, from the center block that we don't count, we go 1, then we go ahead and go 1 more block. After that, we're going to go ahead and go 4 2s. So boom, there we go, 4 2s, and then finally temporary block, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. This 8th block should be in line with our middle slab. Now, there are a couple ways to check this. You could go back up here and use scaffolding and tower right back up to the build limit. That would definitely work, and this would probably be the easiest way to check this. Here we are at the build limit. We've towered up. We'll move over and place a block right there. Then we'll build straight out. If we were to connect, then we'd be in line. You could also just use Optifine and zoom. This is a little bit more inaccurate though, but look at this. We're perfectly in line, so we're good. The circle is fine. Either way though, definitely 100% check your first quarter of the circle. If it's not correct, if it's not perfect, everything is going to be off. And while you finish this circle, check it over and over and over again. So after this first corner, we're going to repeat it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a temporary block, and 2, and 2, and 2, and 2, and then 1 and 1 center, and so on. I'll be back after I've finished this first ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Boom. I've completed the first ring. All of my measurements are perfect because I linked up in the perfect spot. This is a gigantic ring. Now it's time for the next part of the ring. The next part of the ring is the outside of the ring. With the inner ring done, the outer ring is going to be a whole lot more simple. To start, find the center of one of the flat sides, if you will, of your inner ring. So this block right here. From this block, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then finally 5. This 5th block is the start of our outer ring. Now we're going to start things exactly the same. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we're going to switch things up a little bit though. Temporary block, then 1, 2, 3. Temporary block, 1, 2, 3. After that, temporary block, then 1, 2. Temporary block, 1, 2, and finally temporary block, 1, 2. So far, we have a section of 7, then we have a 3, then a 3, then 2, 2, 2. After that, temporary block 1, temporary block 1, then temporary block center. Now, to make sure we're in line, easy. Temporary block right there, there, and there. We should be perfectly in line, diagonally with the center of our inner ring from this outer center block, which we are. So again, outer ring dimensions right here. 7, then 3, then 3, then 2, then 2, then 2, then 1, then 1. Then we have a center. Now, from that center, just like we did on the inner ring, we're going to go ahead and repeat everything. Mirror it identically. So 2 1s, then we're going to go ahead and do 3 2s, then 2 3s, and then 1 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then center. If we did everything correctly, we should be in line perfectly with the center of our build, which, coincidentally, we are. Perfectly in line. So now, we need to repeat this all the way around the outside of this ring. Pretty simple. I'll be back once that's done. 4, 5, 6, and 7. Boom. Perfect. The outer ring is done. Now, I've gone ahead and marked the centers on all of my sides. You don't have to do that, but I decided to. Now, honestly, the outline part of the circle, the part that we actually just did, is the hardest part of this farm, and that wasn't even really that bad. With the inside done and the outside done, it's time to fill it in entirely. Now remember, we're working on the anti-gas platform, so this whole filling in part needs to be done with non-spawnable blocks again. So I'm going to go ahead and keep using slabs, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit because I want this farm to look pretty sweet. But either way, you need to fill in every single block in between the inner ring and the outer ring now with non-spawnable blocks. So again, like the last couple times, I'll be back once that is done. After that, we'll be able to fly right through the rest of this build. And so, after a little bit of time and a whole lot of slabs later, this is what we have now. This platform is literally gigantic and also will stop all gas from spawning, which means it's officially time for us to start the Zombified Piglin spawning platforms. So first, move back over to where you towered up initially. For me, that's this spot right here. In survival, you're going to have to dig straight down to get back down. What we're going to want to do is go 1, 2, and then on this third block, magma block. Then after that, you could jump out or something and go 1, 2, then third block, magma block. Then finally 1, 2, and then boom. That first magma block that you place should be right there. Now you have a lot of block placing to do. What you need to do is create 3 magma block platforms in the exact shape as this top circle, going all the way around this whole spot right here. Now, if you're really an overachiever, you could go ahead and make more than 3 platforms. More, if you're really lazy, technically, you could make less than 3 platforms if you wanted to, but I don't really recommend it. If you're going through all the trouble to make this farm, I highly recommend that you just go ahead and put the extra work in and make sure your farm is good. You want this thing to be efficient. Now, my big tip for getting this done easily, I recommend that instead of just placing blocks like I'm doing there, you go ahead and create the outer rings first and then fill everything in, like you did the first time. But you definitely don't have to do it that way. Either way though, you do want to create 3 rings, 3 solid magma block rings with 2 blocks of space in between them. You see I can stand perfectly in here? That's going to be perfect for the Zombified Piglins. Same thing for this floor, 2 blocks of space in here, standing perfectly, and then again, same thing for this bottom layer right here, 2 blocks. Now, that's going to be a lot of block placing. That's going to take a long time. It's definitely going to be pretty boring, so if you have a friend that can help, definitely get your friend to help. Or at the least, like, watch a video and do this at the same time. Yeah, it's going to take a long time. Another big survival tip, if you're doing this in survival, which I assume you will be, make sure you crouch on the magma blocks. You won't take any damage. And as you start to get farther away from some magma blocks, you might start seeing Zombified Piglin spawning. That is beautiful. That is perfect. But don't hit them. Definitely don't make them mad. So I'll be back once I have 3 gigantic magma block rings in. Wish me luck. All right, this is a lot of rings and a lot of blocks, but mostly a lot of rings. Here we are, 3 magma block layers done. Now, this is what we have. We have a gigantic platform with a ton of Zombified Piglins. By the way, when you set this farm up, you may notice chicken drops on this platform. How does that happen? Well, simple. Chicken jockeys. If you didn't know, sometimes baby Zombified Piglins can spawn on a chicken. Now, unfortunately for the chicken, they don't really do magma blocks, so the chickens are just gonna toast up. But anyways, we have this gigantic outer platform now. Now it's time for us to start setting up the grinding area, the center of this build. So, first things first, we're going to want to go back over to that temporary walkway that we made going over towards the center. Now, we're going to need to pick a side of it. So, for us, we'll pick this side. Then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 16, 17, 18. We need a platform 18 blocks long coming off of the middle of one of these sides. Now, this platform needs to be 3 blocks wide and all built out of non-spawnable blocks. I recommend using slabs here because, again, it's very cheap. Now, this platform, this thing that we're building right here, is going to let the Zombified Piglins that spawn on this platform, out here, any of these 3 actually, get over to the center. Now, of course, I'm trying to make this farm look good, so I'm going to go ahead and care about the aesthetics, but you definitely don't have to. So, here we have one platform that is 3 blocks wide and 18 blocks long in the center of this side. Now, we need to repeat that again and again and again. So to start, we're going to go over here and find the middle. Then we're going to go right here. This should be the middle and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 16, 17, 18. Boom. And then 3 blocks wide again. Then over there and over there. Boom. Now we have platforms going towards the middle. Now we're going to need these platforms to be connected on a separate center middle platform. To do this is pretty simple. We go 1, 2, 3 diagonally inwards, and then over here we're going to do the exact same thing. 1, 2, 3. Then finally we need one diagonal block right there. So now we're basically going to create a smaller circle on the inside. Now don't worry about filling all of the blocks in quite yet. Let's start with just the outer ring of this circle. So now we have this inner circle right here. Now it's time for us to actually create the platform we'll be standing on. If you still have scaffolding going all the way up to the build limit and any blocks up high, go ahead and take those out now because we don't need those anymore. So, remember at the start of the tutorial when we picked this block as the center? Well, it's time for the center to shine again. But this block is on Y246.5. That's cool, but it's not correct. We want our platform to be safe. To make it safe, we're going to need to put it up a little bit higher than this one. You'll see why in a minute. So, the platform should be at Y247.5. Place a block directly above your original center block. Then, after that, you can go ahead and place 3 blocks coming off of this block in each direction. We're going to create another smaller circle in the middle, tons of circles in this build. Now we have one block right there with the scaffolding, so 2, 3, boom. Now we have this plus shape. Turning this block into a circle is very, very simple. Start by filling in the branches that you just put out. You want each branch to be 3 blocks wide. Then after that, we'll have to just fill in the corners. It'll be pretty simple. So now we have thick plus shape right there. Boom. Very nice. And now finally, boom, boom. And then over here, boom, boom. Perfect. That's the middle circle. That's good. Now, in a second, we're actually going to pull some of these blocks out to set up our funneling system, but for now, this is a really solid start. Now we need to make this platform a little bit more safe. To do that, easy. We need more slabs. These slabs should be placed 1 block higher than this platform right here. So these slabs are sitting at Y248.5. Now these slabs should be diagonally off of the platform a little bit, you see like I'm doing here, and go all the way around this thing. Now again, in just a second, when we set up our funneling system, we're going to pull some of these blocks out, but it's really not that big of a deal. Doing it like this is the easiest way to kind of envision things in the future. If you try and build the funneling system right now, it might be a little bit confusing, like with the measurements, the dimensions, and all. So now we have this ring all the way around here. Make sure you get rid of all of your building blocks. Now remember, we're trying to prevent gas spawn, so that's why we're doing everything on half block layers. Now, finally, we can go ahead and finish this inner ring platform. So, to do that, simple. All we need to do is basically fill everything in going all the way up to our circle with even more slabs. You guessed it. Now, at this point in the build, you may still have a little bit of a temporary walkway right in here. You can actually go ahead and pull that thing out now. We actually don't need it anymore. So, now we have something that looks like this. We have a circle around our center circle, and then even more circles around the center circle. Now, really quick, to make your way back into this thing, simple. Place a floating slab right out here at the edge of this walkway. You'll be able to jump onto this slab and then long jump over onto this area right here. Now, for symmetry's sake, I'm going to actually go ahead and do that on both sides. So now I have a way in over here. Boom, just like that. We'll be able to get in, but the Zombified Piglins won't. Make sure you place this on a half block so you don't create spawnable blocks right there. Now, finally, the funneling system. So, first things first, we're going to go back to our center block and actually dig it out. We want the bottom center block to be on Y246. This is going to be where we stand to actually use this farm. So, let's see if I got 246 on the first try. Yeah, 246, first try. Perfect. Alright, so now we're actually going to need to skip this block right here, break another block, and go down here. We need another block on Y246. So we can actually get rid of that middle one and have a block right there. This is the block that we'll be funneling all of the Zombified Piglins onto. Now, you want to do this by your center block. Very, very important. Make sure you have your center. My staircase is positioned right behind my center. Might be different depending on how you did it, but that's how I have it. Now, easy. We need to make a way into this block and no way out of it, which is pretty simple. We'll start with a staircase right there. Then we'll go ahead and step up right here. Then finally, the Zombified Piglins should walk right down into our trap right here, which is perfect. Now, all we need to do is make it so the Zombified Piglins only have that option. So, to do that, simple. We can go ahead and build this up a little bit, just like that right here, and then same thing over here. Again, building that up. Now, if we go ahead and test this, we won't be able to jump up anywhere, which is perfect. That is exactly what we want. But, notice what we just did here. We created spawnable blocks. So, to fix that, you could either A, place even more slabs up here, but in my opinion, that makes things a little bit too thick. So B, you use non-spawnable blocks, maybe leaves, or hey, what about glass? Glass would work. You would only need 5 blocks of glass anyways. That's pretty cheap. Or option number 3, button, 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 button. Boom. I think I'm going to go ahead with the buttons because that's kind of perfect in my opinion. Now, one more thing that we want to test, right here. We want to make sure that zombified piglins can't actually jump out of here. Now, right here, they actually can, which is perfect. If you wanted things to look a little bit more solid, though, you could do 2 staircases right here. If you do go the route of 2 staircases, though, again, you're going to need to make things even taller up here. So, kind of a couple options here when it comes to this step. Really, do whatever you like the best. I think what I'm going to do is actually this one right here. I like the 2 staircases walking into this area because it creates a very, very solid backing. Not that that really matters, I just kind of like how it looks. So, now we have this thing right here. Finally, we need to set up our item collection area. The item collection area will be down here right below this block right here. Another thing that we're going to want to do also, almost forgot, is put a couple slabs around this thing right here. Reason for that? Well, simple. Baby zombified piglins. We don't want the baby zombified piglins to move away. Now, when we want to take these guys out, all we're going to do is stand right here and swing at them over and over and over again. If we do end up having any baby zombified piglins that get stuck in this thing, well, no big deal. We can make a backup platform right here where we can move down to and actually take out the baby zombified piglins from their feet, from right down here. Anyways, though, item collection time. Item collection in this build is very, very simple. Start by placing temporary block, temporary block, temporary block. Then go ahead and remove the first 2. After that, place a hopper going into that temporary block. On top of that hopper, rail. On top of that rail, minecart with a hopper. Boom. Leave all of that alone. That needs to stay just like that. Now we can go ahead and get rid of this temporary block and place a double chest. Then, after that, we can go diagonally down below this thing, another double chest, and then another hopper. And then we're going to go ahead and do it again, and then again, and again, and again, however many times you'd like to do. Now keep in mind that this thing will fill up quickly. You're going to get a lot of golden swords, which will clog up your sorting system. So I highly recommend that you at least do 5 double chests worth of storage at the minimum, but you might want to do more. It would also probably be a good idea to set up some sort of auto smelter up here so you can smelt your gold swords down into nuggets. That would probably be a little bit more helpful. And then finally, at the bottom of this platform, wherever you decide the bottom is, go ahead and place even more slabs. Make sure they're on the lower half block again, because again, you don't want spawns down here. That would be really bad. You have a bunch of angry zombified piglins. You come down here to look at the loot, and then boom, there's even more. Yep, sounds like a really, really bad day. So more slabs right there, half slabs, so we don't get any spawns. And then finally, to make this thing safer, we'll go ahead and do even more half slabs down here. But honestly, all of this is entirely optional. You can make your loot area however you'd like. If you'd like to do all glass down here, well then sweet, that would be really, really cool. If you'd like to honestly just leave nothing, well, you're crazy, but you could totally do it. If you want to do that, go ahead and do it. But here we go. We have this bottom item collection area set up just like this. Lots of hoppers strung together into double chests. And yes, we can open all of these double chests. That is perfect. So now, finally, we want to, of course, test this farm. So we're going to come up here and grab a bow. All right, so I'm up here. I've got my bow, and I've got a sword to take out these zombified piglins as well. Now what we're going to want to do is pretty simple. Pick a zombified piglin. Any of them is going to work. Then go ahead and shoot the zombified piglin. Now we stand here and wait. Now this is honestly a little freaky. You're going to have a lot of zombified piglins rushing you. But it's okay. Stay calm, stay cool. It's going to be good. To get them into that little grinding area that you set up, move on to your center standing block and stand there. This is the ideal standing block for this farm. Now, eventually, you're going to get so many zombified piglins in this block that they are just going to go away on their own. And look at my levels. This is crazy. This is all due to entity cramming. Now, if you were trying to set this up for AFKing, you would probably want to set like a bunch of minecarts inside of this area, like 23 or so. That would probably do. Then they'd all die instantly to entity cramming. But as you can see here, you can save a lot of iron and save a lot of time by just not placing any of them and letting the zombified piglins handle the entity cramming stuff. Now, this design is also a little bit more simple than other gold farm designs because we actually don't have any idling zombified piglins. Meaning, we don't have a zombified piglin standing on a platform that would usually be placed way out here. Now, why is that? Well, really, that's to make this farm simple. But it does kind of change some AFK stuff. If you're planning on AFKing at this farm for like a long time, maybe just don't. This farm is set up for mainly use while you're playing the game, at least somewhat. You could AFK in this farm for a little while, but I definitely don't necessarily recommend using this overnight, AFKing. Eventually, the zombified piglin may stop getting mad at you, and that could be a big problem if you're going for a long AFK session. Anyways though, back to using this farm. So, get the zombified piglins mad at you, have them run over to the center, and then stand on this block. When you're sitting on this block, you should be able to swing at them with your sword and take them out. Boom. Nice and easily like that. Now, huge bonus points, big time, if you can get looting 3 on your sword. So check this, a looting 3 sword right here. We're gonna up the amount of drops that we have, like huge time, including upping the chance of gold ingots dropping. Just straight up gold ingots. Basically, crazy good. About the best thing we could get from this thing. So, anyways, I've used the farm for a little while. Now we're going to go ahead and slide down here. We'll get a bunch of experience right here on this platform. And then, if we move down even lower, we'll have a bunch of loot funneling into this thing. Slowly, but funneling. If this system is clogged up, well, that's pretty simple. You can climb back up, access your hopper minecart, be careful not to move the thing, and take loot out of it manually. So right here, the swords, they're clogging it up. We can pull them out right there. This will be able to start picking things up again a little bit faster. And boom, level 30, just like that. So easy, didn't even have to do anything for it. Alright, we're going to turn them off because they are loud. Now, a couple things to note. This right here, technically a spawnable block. Place a button there if you'd like, but really shouldn't be much of a problem because you'll be standing on this block every single time you're using this farm. But if you're really, really worried, place a button there. It wouldn't hurt. Also, you can definitely place crafting tables in this farm, but remember, spawnable blocks are spawnable blocks, so maybe a button on top of the crafting table, no big deal. Chests, absolutely fine to put in this farm as well. You can put anything inside of this inner ring that you'd like to put in this ring. That means chests, stone cutters, whatever you'd really like. Make it your own. And so that right there is a super simple yet crazy efficient gold farm for Minecraft 1.16 and up, Java edition. I hope this tutorial today helped you out. If it did, if you enjoyed it at all, help me out by dropping a like on this video. It seriously helps more than you could imagine. If you like this content and you'd like to see more of it dropped right in your sub feed, well, lucky for you, you could subscribe. If you subscribe, you'll get a brand new video from me, yours truly, every single day in your sub feed. On the end card, I'll go ahead and throw my tutorial playlist if you're looking for more crazy, useful Minecraft farms. Today, big shout out to my patrons, Divins, Disaster Juice, and @Woozy. Thank you all so much for the support, and thank you all for watching. It's been me, your boy. Minecraft 1.16 Gold Farm forever.